Okay, we are live. Welcome back to the raw and uncut truth about writing. I am your host, Nubia Shambee, here with a very special guest, author Tess Combs. How are you, hun?
Hi, I'm good. Great day. How are you?
I am doing fine. It is so wonderful to have you here. So, do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and your books?
Sure. Yeah, I'm an author. I'm an indie author. I write full time. A little bit about me first. I live in Florida, right outside of Tampa, and it's great weather here right now because it's February. So loving that. Don't ask me in the summer; it'll be too hot, and it'll be a different story. But right now, it's perfect. And I am married. I have two boys, and we homeschool. So they're here doing this with us all the time. Um, yeah, and like I said, for author work, that's my full time job is being an indie author. I write fantasy novels and fantasy romance or romantasy, if you've heard that term, and also dystopian books. Um, and I love it. That's what I get to do for work. So
Oh my goodness, that is so interesting. Yes, I'm going to need a little bit more information about the dystopian books.
oh, sure.
Um, but everything else sounds amazing because I also write fantasy and that's just amazing. So I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory about me. I am 28 years old. I started writing when I was in fourth grade. But due to a humiliating experience, I put it off for 10 years. Um, I kind of came back into it in my teenage years, and I started writing about a boy band on Wattpad. That's kind of how I came back to it. And then when I saw that Amazon KDP allowed me to upload a book, that's when I've been writing ever since. So I have 48 books published on Amazon, and I'm just so excited, in all genres, fantasy, romance, science fiction, a lot. Basically, I'm not doing horror right now, but soon we'll think about it soon. Okay, so let's jump right into it.
Sure.
What does your writing process look like?
Oh, great. Oh, I love that question. First of all, to me, it's one of the most fun things I could ever do. Like, I love the process of writing. I also love the process of being an author, which is a little bit different, like the business side of it versus the writing side of it. I do enjoy both, but they are a bit different, in my opinion. And my writing process, I usually, in my ideal world, now that my kids are a little older, they're 10 and 7, so they can kind of work. We have our own schedules. It was different when they were younger, but now I like to give my best and my first energy to writing. Otherwise, I get kind of caught up with all the other stuff I have to do for the day. And for me, that's about 10 a.m. is my best writing time. So if I don't have a lot of stuff going on, it's just my regular day, around 10 a.m. I'd want to kick in with writing, and that's usually after I've done like all my prep, as I call it. So my brain work, my breathing. I'm hydrated. I've done some kind of like gone outside for a walk with the kids, done something where now my brain is ready to flow. Those brain waves are moving. Then I'm ready to write, and I usually need some kind of um, not just a goal. I need a little more than a goal, some kind of competition I'm doing with myself or someone else, one of my friends, where I will time myself or somehow motivate myself to get the words out in a certain amount of time. Um, so I have my own personal, like, my own personal goals of, oh, how fast can I do this? Or how many words can I get in this amount of time? So that because I write almost every day, about 6 days a week. And my usual amount that I'm writing is like um, on a very busy day, like right now, I have a Kickstarter running, and that's been like taking up a lot of brain energy. Then 1,000 words a day is fine for me, but on a regular day, it's usually between 3 or 4 thousand words that I'm trying to get out there.
OMG, that is so inspiring. First of all, a lot of people don't have like a writing routine. So to know that, you have something to basically get you there. That's awesome. I'm going to take notes on that because I definitely need because my writing process is all over the place. Sometimes I'm good, like energy word is flowing this day, but the next day I'm just like stuck in the bed. So, I definitely need a routine. So I'm going to be taking notes. That's amazing. So, my next question is, what about your world building? How do you build your worlds? Let's say, do you research your street names? Do you like go out to where you live and kind of put in that in your world building? Like, how does that process look like?
I love world building, especially because I write a lot of high fantasy or even some of my dystopian books. The world is completely fabricated. So, um, versus I have a couple urban fantasies or things where like it's set in on Earth, like Miami, you know. Um, but if I'm world building for a world I'm creating, then that's a totally different process for me. And usually I'll start with my main characters first and who they are and how the society has uh, been pitted against them or what the problem is societally, like as far as the structure of not just the government, but their parents, their friends, like what is their main problem and that they're trying to overcome. From there, that's when I start naming things and figuring out all the little bits that make up the world. So I won't name the cities until I know what kind of struggle we're dealing with. And then that'll inspire, like, an example, if I can use one, I have a book called The First Breath. It's in my first collection series, which is I think right now 8 of them are out. 8 fantasy novels that are all interconnected. Most of them are standalones. So each one is a new realm. So for The First Breath, the premise is that the realm is out of air, and air is now a currency and a commodity. And my main character is a complete rebel. So now I go in and I name all the cities based on something to do with air. Like I research like how lungs work and what are different types of breathing. And that's how I named all of my, not just my cities and my streets, but also like the bad guy, enforcers. Like they're called oh gosh, what are they called? Now I forget. But I have things like the whispers. Like, I use all those elements to make the world rich. And that's how I would do it. I'll do it from what the story needs first and then build it all out. And I'll even go as far as like if I'm eating breakfast, I'll think like, well, if my main character, like if Aya from the first Dryad was eating breakfast, what would she eat? How would she eat? How would the table be set? Would the teacups, what would they look like? What would be in there? And so I'm building literally the whole world from what's the name of the country where they live to what does a spoon look like?
Wow. Okay. That was just like, it blew my mind because, like, I wouldn't think to do something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, very detailed about it. I really love that. I love that your books basically are very detailed, and I love detail. So I would definitely buy your book just so
Oh,
I
thanks.
can see, like, how did you do this? You know what I'm saying? So yes, we support our authors over here. Okay, so of course I will be getting one very
Oh,
soon.
thanks.
So I have a couple more questions, basically about your characters. So how do you build up your characters? Like, do you do character profiles? Do you research their name and their meaning? How does that process look like?
Oh, yeah. I do look up once I've figured out who this character is, I'll usually do their fear, their strength, and their motivation. So, what's holding them back from what they want to do, what could propel them to it, and why are they going towards this thing. Once I've figured out a character's strength and weakness, then it's pretty easy to figure out what they're going to be like as far as like psychological profile. I might even pick what they look like based on that. Like That might work too. Like perhaps what they look like doesn't fit in with the culture or something like that. Um, and then I'll pick a name that I think works with the culture I'm designing for them, but also it usually will have some kind of meaning. I have my fans pick sometimes too. They can help me pick names. Like I'll explain the character, and sometimes it'll be derivative of like a country that exists on Earth. Like I want it to be kind of maybe Greek sounding, or um from Gambia. Like I'll do different cultures that will inspire, and so maybe we want it to sound like a Russian name, for example, and they might help me like give me a whole list of names to pick from, or I'll do a contest where someone might be able to pick a name for a character. But that's usually what I'll do. So it's something meaningful that has to do with their strengths, their weaknesses, but also the culture that we're creating for the story. And I love character development. I think that's one of the most important parts of writing, because that's the story to me. I'm a very character driven writer. So the world it should be really good, but my world is good because it's the character's world and they deserve it, if that makes sense. So I want the world to be able to carry the story that they're telling. So that's why my world needs to be really detailed and really solid, because it is like the vehicle for this character's story, and this character needs a chance to tell their story.
Wow, that is amazing. Yes, we need character profiles. We need character um, world building as well. Because for me, I know that I'm very different with this because I haven't really, or I should say, I don't think of the character's appearance or their name until after I've built out the story. So, for example, since I have dreams that is telling me the storyline first,
Oh, wow.
um, I'll just write out the storyline and then the characters will come later. But, I'm kind of getting back into outlining. So, like, that is such a great process to bring in the characters and the world building as well, just so you know, like, exactly where everything is going. And that's amazing. I love your process. Give me one second. Yeah. Yes, I love your writing process. It's just giving me all types of ideas and it's inspiring me so much. I'm like, let me take notes on everything. Okay, so I have another question. When it comes to formatting, do you like make up your own rules or do you go by the traditional formatting? So, like, for example, do you space your words by 1.5 or by standard single space
When I'm writing, or like when it's going out for publication?
when you're writing?
Oh, yeah. Well, no one's ever asked me that, because for publication, I don't format my own. My amazing husband does it for me. Love you, Nate. He's great. He does so many things for me. But for when I'm writing, that's actually a really funny answer. I think 1.5. I don't indent or anything like that. I'm kind of blind, so I'll like put it up to 150% so I can really see it. Anything that helps me not, I don't like to think about that I'm writing. I just like it to flow. So if it's like distracting or I can't see what I'm doing, that's a no. So it needs to be big enough, but not too big, so I can see the whole page. Um, but recently, so Nate has had me change my font to EB Garamond from, I think it was just an Arial, which is like when you open Google Docs, it's the regular one, because I kept missing certain letters that didn't have like the serif. Do you know what I mean? Like it didn't have the little edges, and I kept making I have a little dyslexia, so I kept making too many typos, and he was like, it was driving me crazy. You need to change your font so you can see the letters you're typing. So now I type everything in that font, so there are slightly less mistakes. There's still a lot. Um, and I use Google Docs too, because it's easier to get my alpha readers and my beta readers and get it into editing all in one document, so we can all share that document. And I don't have to like keep sending out, files to people. We all can get into one document. I can see their comments right there.
I heard that. That
Mhm.
is awesome. Now I understand that you do have the luxury of a publication. So like for indie authors who like definitely doesn't have that at the moment, like editors who
Oh,
they have to pay.
I'm indie.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but I just meant like publishing my own. I publish all, yeah. I'm indie.
Oh,
Sorry. Yeah.
okay. Excuse me. I actually thought that, you have an editor that you can go to and stuff like that. Do
I
you?
I
Do you have
do.
an editor?
So Nate is my main editor,
Okay.
and he's sorry, everyone, he's not taking clients right now except for me because I keep him busy. And he does most of my covers. I've started doing a few of them because I do art as well. Um, so we're a pretty good team. We team up on a lot of stuff together, but yeah, it doesn't go out. I don't have a publisher. I'm still the publisher, and all of it is going to happen in the Combs house pretty much. I do have an alpha team which is made of um hi alphas. I won't say who you are because you might not like that, but hi stunners, if you're watching, I love you. So I have an amazing team of fans and readers who hop into my documents before they become books, and they help me go through them and see like what's going on, and usually give me a lot of encouragement, which I need because we need that.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Thank you for clarifying. Yes, I totally agree with you. I realize I do need an art team. That's one thing I don't have yet. Gonna be coming soon though, because after March, I'm gonna be doing a rebrand and stuff like that. And all of my books are gonna be re-edited, and that's one thing I'm gonna be looking for. So thanks for that information.
I know some good editors too. Like Holly Barnett is a great editor. If you look her up, and I think S. McKinney also is doing formatting now. If you need a formatter, those are two people that I recommend that are pretty great.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Amazing. Okay. So that was also another question I was going to ask about your covers. Now, you did say that you are an artist. Excuse me. You did say that you are an artist and you sometimes do your covers. So, do you use like stock images? Do you use like maybe AI? Do you use something that's kind of different that's out there? Like, what's that process like?
For my covers right now, I use, and I've only done maybe two or so of mine, I think. And for smaller works that maybe Nate doesn't have time to get to, I'll just like I'll do them, and he'll probably end up replacing my covers eventually because he's just very talented. I'll use Canva Pro if you've used that, which is a pretty simple design tool. And then after I've I'll sketch it, and then I'll use Canva Pro, and then I'll probably move it to Affinity Designer if I want to do like extra special stuff. But Canva Pro is really easy to use, and you can get your stock photos there, and you can do some simple design stuff on there too. That's not too complicated. So that's what I recommend. If you're like my level of artist, that's what I do. And if you're like fancier, then you don't even need my advice on that. So
I heard that. I kind of do use Canva Pro for almost all of my books. I
Mhm.
feel like we're going to need to collaborate on a book or even the artist design because I love this space where we can have multiple authors just come in and express themselves, give their opinion, things of that nature. And you have inspired me. So I'm like, let's do something, after this if we could. All right. So my next question, please give me 1 second. I have to
Oh,
get
sure.
get the book. Lord have mercy. Sometimes I forget and it's hard, trying to remember everything.
Oh, I know.
Um,
Yeah. My memory is not the strongest. I need lots of help with that.
yes. And it kind of pours over into the writing too because I found myself sitting at the computer for 30 minutes trying to think of something to
Remember what
come
you're doing.
down. And it's like, oh my gosh. I need to sit back. And that just reminded me of a question. How do you handle procrastination? Do you like let it take you over where you just sit back and don't write, or do you
Mhm.
just follow your routine?
Oh yeah. So I can't let procrastination. I have no. I can't do that with my my personality type. ADHD, I can't let the procrastination be a thing. Otherwise, I'm in trouble. I always tell myself too, I can't get bored because then I'm in trouble. Then I don't. Then I'm demotivated. So for me, what helps with procrastination is to keep the pressure on all the time. If I think something is like, oh, I don't really need to, it's not that important and it's not due and I have time, then I'm gonna well, first of all, then I'm going to pack myself with other things because I like to stay active, and I'm going to end up switching careers and doing all kinds of stuff. So I need to, I'm like, oh, what about, it happens. It has happened because, like you, I had a big gap in my writing career too, where I stopped for a long time and did other things and pursued other careers and then came back to it about 2 years ago. And have since become full time, but I have to keep the pressure on. One of the things is I'm really strict about my own deadlines. I set them and then I mean them. And so I will go through and math out how many words I need to do in order to get to the end of this story by the deadline. So if I know, um, right now I'm writing a story, Brightless, and it's going to have a Kickstarter coming in August. It's part of this whole like author collective I have going. I know the dates I have to get that done, and I know I want it to be 100,000 words. I'll math that out, and I'll say, okay, from now until it's due, how many words a day do I need to do? And then I have to do those words minimum. Otherwise, I'm not going to get there. And so, and if I have a bad day and sometimes I have like a bad slow brain day, or I'm just like, I have too much going on, or I don't feel well, or whatever it is, then I have to make that up though. So if I don't like playing makeup or catch up, then I just get it done. And it's always, I put my word count goals a little aggressive. So like a little more than is comfortable. If I feel too comfortable, then I get a little, procrastinate. So always a little like, ooh, girl, you better sit down and write it. You better go. You need to go. You're going to be behind. And because I have a whole system of people, I'm depending on my writing, that helps me a lot. If it's just me in my bubble, But Nate, my editor, is waiting. He can't make the cover in time if I don't have the book. And my alphas are they're getting bored. They're sitting there waiting for the work. I have a Patreon. People are waiting for me to upload on there so they can read it. So all of these people are waiting for me to sit my butt down and write my 3,000 words today. So that motivates me a lot because it's not just me. It's an entire community that is, living off of what I'm doing when I sit at that computer. So I try to take it seriously and get it going. That's my passion, is sitting down and writing the words.
That is awesome. Oh my goodness. Yes, I would like to take this moment and give you your flowers because as an author, it is a lot that we have to do. We have to basically wear all the hats with everything when it comes to publishing a book. And I just want to say you are doing it.
Oh,
Okay. Keep it going, hon. I applaud you. I wish you continue on your journey, and I wish you success and prosperity on your journey as well.
thank you.
Absolutely, hon. Okay, and we have two more questions.
Okay.
And then we're gonna wrap things up a little bit. So who is your inspiration? Like, who got you into wanting to write a book in the first place?
Hmm. I would say so. Back in the day, I know you said you started writing when you were in fourth grade. You said,
Yeah.
I did not know. I loved books and I loved stories, but I did not know I was going to be an author for a while. I thought I was going to be a scientist for a long time. Um, and some kind of science. And I still love science and I still write about it all the time. But it wasn't until I would say high school where here's how it went. I had a mentor. I was supposed to have a mentor when I was a teenager, and they weren't able to actually mentor me. But what they did do is they dropped off a box. And in that box, there were books. And some of those books were not age appropriate. Okay. But one of them was Toni Morrison's, it was Beloved. And I think it's called, I'm like rusty now because of my memory. I think Song of Solomon it's called. And it's like, you know, there was like smexy bits in there, and it was she's an intense writer, and I didn't know any better, so I brought this book and I was like devouring it, and I brought it to school in high school, and I set it down on the desk, and I was doing my work, and one of my teachers walked by. And stick with me, this is, I think, is one of the most important stories in my life. One of these teachers walks by, and it was an English class. It was like an entry-level normal English class. And she saw the book on my desk and she said, "What is this? I didn't assign this. Why are you reading this book?" And she knew who it was, because Toni Morrison is a legend. And I was like, "Oh no, I'm just reading it." And she said, "You're just reading that for fun?" And I said, "Yes." And I didn't think anything of it. Behind the scenes, that teacher went to the principal and said, "Hey, there's this girl in my class. She's reading Toni Morrison for fun. You need to put her up into a higher English class immediately." And argued for me because I was too young, but get her up there. And so that happened. And I didn't know till after that all this was happening. And I met the coolest English teacher ever. And she was very inspirational to me. And I would write these little journal pieces. And when I was done, she would just be like, "You're amazing." And like, look at me in my face and be like, "You are going to be a writer." I was like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." And she was like, "You need to go to school for it." I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to do that. So it wasn't till years later that clicked into place for me. I was already in college. And took my first like creative writing course, and Nate and I were dating, and I was like, "This is the most fun I've ever had." And he was like, "You should just do that." I'm like, "I can't just do that. I can't just be an author." And he was like, "Why not?" And so now. But all that to say, I think there are three different types of inspirational people in that story. There's the mentor who maybe she didn't show up, but at least she gave me a box. And at least in that box, there was a book. And maybe someone would say like, "Oh, she flaked on you and she wasn't," but she played the part she was supposed to play in my life. So even if you're playing that small part, that little bit that's just giving someone something or handing someone something because you feel that nudge, like maybe that person needs someone to say hi or buy them a coffee. It may seem small, but you change someone's life with that little box with that book. And then there was the teacher who, she didn't keep me in her class, but was able to identify some level of greatness there, and pass me on to someone else and make a case for me. And didn't get praise for that. No one was like, "Good job," but she changed my life by being able to identify something and argue for it and make a case for it. And then there was a teacher who every day looked in my face and was like, "You're talented and you're going to do something with it." So whichever person you can be of those three types in someone's life, if I could just say, just be that, whether it's just doing something small and nice, making a case for someone behind the scenes, or being there every day, you will change someone's life. And now I get to change people's lives every day with what I do and the community that I build. So long answer. I'm sorry.
You are fine. That was amazing. Oh my goodness. We definitely need more people to vouch for us like that. I totally understand where you're coming from. I kind of just wish I had that experience as well, because when I got humiliated, that's what put me off from writing. So I'm very happy that happened.
Now you're doing the opposite. If I can give you your flowers, now you're doing the opposite. So you're being who you needed when you were younger, and you are calling out other authors and giving us a place to speak, and you're speaking goodness over people. So you're really defying what happened to you in a beautiful way.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I did not expect to get emotional. Oh my gosh. But yes, thank you so much. That really means a lot to me, because my work does go unseen. So it really feels good to have that. I appreciate you. Thank you. Oh my God.
Thank you for the space. It's really cool.
Thank you
And I
so
know I
much.
have it's and it may seem like maybe you're going unnoticed or people, but even like I'm pretty confident at least a few of my fans are going to watch this and see you and hear that and relate to what you're saying and have been in your position. So it may seem unnoticed, but it's not. And you don't know what impact you're having going on, rippling on from the people that might see you today or see you tomorrow or hear even 5 seconds of this. So it's
Wow.
very important what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Oh my God. We have to talk after this. I have a lot to say. So it's amazing. So who I gotta remember my question. Okay, so my my question is for your genres. I know that you said that you kind of dibble and dab in a little bit of genres. Would you ever switch? Like, would you ever go to a genre that you normally don't go to? Like, let's say horror, for example, or like something else, urban fiction, or something like that.
Yeah, I would. I think I've done a little switch already. So before, in my before times when I was first an author, I was doing young adult, but it was still fantasy. And now I do more adult and new adult or adult fantasy and dystopian, which I love. Horror, I don't know. I'm a chicken. I do have like Forest Moria is probably one of the best. Like horror or like even soft horror. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. You can tell I don't. I'm like I have to read it in the day because I get scared. But so probably not horror for me. I don't think I can handle that. But um, I do have like little plans to do some like action, maybe like spy thriller stuff in the future. I don't know if I'll do a pen name with it yet, but it's not for a while. I say unfortunately. I guess it's a good thing. I have my writing schedule planned out for like a while. I think I'm booked to like 2027. So it's a while, but I do want to get to like once I finish that list of stuff that I have to do. Um, and I have a little wiggle room for surprises and keeping my schedule a little spicy, but I do want to do an action like spy thriller and maybe some murder mystery type stuff too because I like watching that stuff. So I think it might be fun to write it. I also just started venturing into some rom-com stuff. So I have my Holiday Haters series, which is like every like Christmas, Valentine's Day, Easter, and then Halloween. I have villains who end up accidentally falling in love, and it's funny and it's a little bit spicy, but it's been I didn't think because usually my work is very dramatic and very intense and like your heart and you're crying, but it's juicy and it's actiony. So to write a rom-com is a little different rhythm, but I am liking it. Every time I finish one, I'm like, am I funny? I don't know. I think I might. Maybe I might be a little bit.
That is so interesting. Oh my gosh. Two villains falling in love. That's different and
Yeah.
unique. I would totally read that. Oh my gosh. I'm kind of the same with you with the horror thing. I will probably never write it because I don't know how to write it and I do get scared too. So I'm like, I'm stay away from that genre. But I am thinking about like maybe a really huge fantasy, like very another detailed type of
Like a
fantasy.
high fantasy, epic fantasy, like a Lord of the Ringsy type thing or Game of
Kind
Thrones.
kind of sort of on that end, but yeah,
Okay.
I'm still in development process with it, so we'll see when we get down that road.
Nice.
And I want to shout out a comment that we have from Ali Starr. She said, I definitely read a test mystery thriller, whatever. So that's your flowers to a commenter, and that's awesome to
I love
hear.
you, Allie. And Megan,
Awesome.
a little bit. I'm kidding. I love you, Megan. She's gonna,
Okay,
she's gonna come after me. Okay.
and last question is, what can you give to aspiring authors or writers to help them keep going and not stop in their process, not like give up and things of that nature?
Okay, yeah. Coming from someone who has given up before, like all the way for like a large number of years, don't do that. It's a you're just gonna come back to it and be like, well, why did I have that whole middle part where I didn't do what I love to do? I would say choose your goal as an author. Like, what do you want to do? And who do you want to be as an author? Because not everybody wants to be like super famous. Like, really be honest with yourself. Do you want that? And is your goal fame? Is your goal to be financially stable? Is your goal just to make books that you like? Once you find that goal, like put that up top. And then after that is quite simple. I have two things I tell myself after I've got my goal.
Okay.
Um, and my goal is lofty, but it's up there. I want to be one of the greatest writers of all time. So, and that might not be everybody's goal, but if that's your goal, put it up there. And then you tell yourself two things. Um, One of them is, how bad do you want it? And I will tell myself that all the time when I'm trying to do, either it's boring or it's scary. I'm always putting myself in these risky, to me, they're risky. Like, I'm not comfortable going out and asking people to read my book or whatever the situation is. How bad do you want it, Combs? And I just level with myself. And if you want it bad, if you want it that bad, you better go do it, or you better sit down and write it, or you have to do it, or it won't happen. How bad do you want it? And my other one is, don't not do it. And it sounds it sounds silly how simple it is, but it works for everything in life. Don't not do it. Just don't not. And I've seen authors take that and literally go from, I don't think I can write 200 words, to successful career launches and successful careers. That don't not do it. That'll hack your brain right there. Don't not do it. Just do it. Once you have the thing, I have to write 1,000 words today. Don't not do it. And you become it. To me, it's not just about what can you do. It's about what kind of person you are becoming and who you tell yourself you are. So it's not, I wrote 1,000 words today. It's, I'm the kind of person who writes 1,000 words every day. It's not, you know, I'm I'm good at connect. I'm the kind of person who can connect with people, not just I connect with people. I'm the kind of person who's good at it. I'm the kind of person who takes risks. And that becomes a lifestyle pattern you're repeating now. Now you're unstoppable. You can do anything versus, well, I publish my book. I'm the kind of person who publishes books whenever I want to. You see the shift there? So that's my advice is get your goal. How bad do you want that goal? How bad do you want it? Be honest with yourself on that. And then don't not do it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Us writers really need that. Thank you so much. Be intentional. I have no doubt that you will become the writer, the greatest writer of all time. I'll just put that out there because,
Thanks.
yes, you already built your platform. You already have your fans, and that is beautiful, So keep going. Don't stop. I
We're going to
applaud
try.
you. I give you your flowers, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being a part of my show. You brought so much light here and you raised my spirit. So I appreciate you so much.
I'm glad. Thank you for having me. It was really special.
Absolutely. So everyone go out and purchase Tess Combs books. Where can we find them again, just so we can be specific?
Sure. For those who are looking is this live today?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. If you're looking today, I think I have 6 hours left on my Kickstarter. If you like special edition, sprayed edges, romantasy, foil hardcover, I mean, it's pretty, y'all. If you like that, The story is beautiful, forbidden love, like it's a tree shifter, so she becomes a tree. You got royals, palaces, all kinds of stuff. If you like that, you want to go to Kickstarter and then type in the first dryad, or you can type in my name, Tess Combs, and you've only got a few hours while that's still running. So get on it. And everyone else, you can go to Amazon, you can go to Patreon, you can just go to Google and type into Tess Combs, and you should be able to find my books. And my name's spelled right there if you don't know how to spell it. And I have lots of books for you. Also, I love meeting people and getting involved in my community. So hit me up on Facebook, Instagram. If you're on TikTok, it's Books Are Bright Stars. But everything else is just my name. Instagram is at Tess Combs. Facebook is Tess Combs or Tess Combs. And you can find me and DM me or just join one of my groups and we can be friends.
Yes, you guys heard her here. Get her books now. And I'm going to hurry up put in my order as well because I would love a sprayed edges special edition. So yes. And if you all are looking for my books as well, they are on imaginetodreambook.store. That is where I sell book boxes. I'm also on Amazon at Nubia Shambee. That is my pen name and my real name. You can find me on YouTube at Imagine to Dream Bookstore, Facebook, the same name. Just, so I won't be repeating myself. And TikTok. Thank you all so much for tuning in and watching the raw and uncut truth about writing. Until next time, you all have a good one.